Setnin Radio, hosted by Mark Newbold and Louis Turfrey.
Episode 10. I'm Louis. I'm Mark. This week we're going to talk about the award ceremonies that are currently going on around the world. Absolutely. And we've got some nice news about some of the ones that we've been nominated for. We have. Might have a little word about the current technology trends. Yeah, there's plenty going on there. Something going on that's a little bit exciting. Yep. Anything else you can think about? Mainly this week it's awards season. It's awards, isn't it? Yeah. So let's look at the BAFTAs. What do you think of what's happened in the BAFTAs? Now, let's just explain the BAFTAs for those of you who are American and may not know this. Are the English equivalent to the Oscars. Yeah. Basically, international films, same sort of awards, but you're more likely to see it on an English DVD than you are on an American one. That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the BAFTAs have been dominated this year by British films. Pride and Prejudice, I think, got 6 nominations. Constant Gardener got 10. There's a good range of films that have been nominated. Constant Gardener was the top one. But the thing that really disappointed me, 2 things that stood out to me this year that I thought was ridiculous. One is the fact that Capote has been nominated for so many awards, given the fact that it's not even been released here yet. I know. I think that's just, I don't know what to think of that. It's either they're hanging or following on the coattails of the American nominations. Obviously Capote came out of the States a long time ago. Or they know something that we don't. I don't really like that. I think that's a bit off. And secondly, the fact that Revenge of the Sith didn't get a single nomination. Which stinks. Yes, to put it succinctly. Yeah, no, putting it in very, very non-mild terms. Yeah. It stinks, and I'll tell you why it stinks. It stinks because George Lucas still owns quite a lot of UK studio space. Mm-hmm. He's been one of the few people that's bought into British studios and effects houses. That's right. Employs quite a lot of English staff. Yes, certainly. Actors, British staff, yeah, absolutely, definitely. I say English, when I say English, I mean British. Yeah. Should qualify that. And I think basically he's put a lot towards the industry in general. If it wasn't for him, special effects would not exist. But that's not any reason to give the guy a BAFTA. Good points that they might all be. But look at episode 3. You know, you've only got to look at the film. I mean, okay, you've seen all the special effects before. Fine. If you've seen it on a video or a DVD, you may not appreciate the quality. You see it on a big screen, maybe a 36-inch, 42-inch plasma. If you see it at the cinema, you will know that the quality of those special effects is superb because there is just no way you can tell a model from a digital model. It has got to the point now where it's pretty much indistinguishable. And I'm blessed them for still using so many models. I'm glad they still use as many models. Well, they say that it's necessary, to be honest, for realism. Well, also the fact that they can scan in so well now. We did an interview with Don Beast the other week. One of the questions I asked him, he does a lot of CG work now, which I didn't realise until I sort of researched the interview. And he said a lot of the time that, whereas in the old days, they'd build a model and then scan it into the computer. And nowadays, they tend to do it the other way. They'll build the model in the computer and then build the physical model off the back of that, which surprised me. Well, they can create a mould. Exactly, this is what he said. Using a laser. Yeah. It was obviously going to be a lot more accurate, so very interesting stuff. But yeah, Sith not getting a nomination in any department really left me flabbergasted. Now, Mark Kermode on Radio 5, who loves laying into Star Wars. He loves hating Star Wars, and he just does it because he thinks it's clever. Yeah. No great science to it. He's never really backed it up with anything other than, it was rubbish. Why? Because it was. He, took great glee in mentioning that Sith hadn't got any nominations. But to not be nominated, and I don't think it'll get an Oscar nom either, for costume is ridiculous. Because the costume, when you think Star Wars won the Oscar for, John Moller won the Oscar for Best Costume. And they weren't particularly complex in Star Wars. No, they certainly weren't. I mean, because, okay, you could probably say, that you've got, I'm sorry about this, but the original Star Wars, a lot of the costumes are based upon German World War II costumes. The only ones I could really say that stood out, I mean, the Stormtrooper ones. Yeah, I mean, and that was more down to design, wasn't it, McCoy and stuff? Again. But I mean, the iconic look of Star Wars was set in Star Wars, so you can give it that. But for actual costuming quality, you compare the cloak that Alec Guinness would have worn to the cloak that Ewan McGregor would have worn. And the level of workmanship and craftsmanship, there's just no comparison. 100% better. Oh, 500% better. Yeah, and Trish Bigger, how she's not been nominated. Being a Scot as well, to not be nominated for an Oscar is bad enough.
to not be nominated for a BAFTA, it's like, who is picking these awards? Really has got me today.
I mean, whether you like The Revenge of the Sith or not, and a lot of people don't who listen to these, this radio show.
Mm-hmm.
Still Star Wars fans, but they're not particularly fond of it. Whether you like it or not, you cannot go over the quality.
No.
I don't think in the whole of that film there is one effect that's not unfinished.
No. I mean, even Kong. Have you seen Kong yet?
Yes, I've seen some of Kong.
Yeah, there's some...
I mean, the Brontosaurus.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the stuff in that
just looks like people running in front of a screen.
Yeah, it looks like re-screen projection. Some of the stuff in that is phenomenal, but other parts you think, that don't sit right.
Who did Kong with them? Especially they?
Weta. There's the scene in Kong when they're all tumbling down that hill, and it's a fantastic scene, but it's so over the top. It doesn't bring you into the reality of what's going on, because there's these 30-ton dinosaurs falling down the hill and nobody gets hurt. It's a bit ridiculous. I know it's escapism fun, but it doesn't hold any reality.
It doesn't need to be in there, to be honest.
No, it doesn't. Well, we've had this discussion on the previous episode, haven't we, that film could have been an hour shorter and been a zippier film.
But I agree with what you say about the ice skating.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed that. I thought it was really good. Yeah. But yeah, Sith not to get a nomination there is so disappointing, and the fact that it looks like it's only going to get 3 Oscar nods unless something happens in the next week or so.
Yeah, I mean, again,
And it won't win any.
I don't know, I think it will win one. I think it will win a token one.
I hope so, because none of the prequels have won a single Oscar.
No,
and you think Star Wars was nominated for 11 and won 7. I think Empire won 3.
Clarify me on this one. I mean, Sith was completely shot digitally, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it the first film that was completely shot digitally? I can't remember now.
No, I think Clones was the first.
Clones?
Yeah. Yeah. Because there were certain scenes in Phantom Menace were shot digitally. And now, unless somebody out there knows what scenes they were, I don't actually know what scene it was, but there was at least 2 scenes, I'm sure, of Phantom Menace that were shot on digital camera. Which really don't forget, digital camera's only Betamax. Yeah. It's only half-inch tape, so it's no great science. But the cameras are so much quicker to use. It's like using a video camera, isn't it? So, you've got the advantage of speed and quickness.
Well, now, the new digital ones go straight to a hard drive.
I'm not sure, but
it allows them to call it up an index frame at a time. The dial in the index frame is there.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they do. I mean, it's on the Hyperspace, I think, when they just do the copy straight away and send them off, and there they are, they're working on them. So,
in the meantime, though, back to where we were. We've been nominated.
We've been nominated. Our first nominations. Actually, it's not my first nomination, because I had an audio cassette nominated for the NHP Awards in 1986. What Lies Within one, but that's completely irrelevant. But he did win. I've still got the little cardboard presentation card that John gave me, but there you go. It was only 20 years ago.
I'm only going to say this once.
Yeah.
You are in HP.
I know.
How can you nominate yourself?
We used to have an award ceremony. Portal of Demons, What Lies Within, Tattooing
20 years
Effect.
ago?
20 years ago.
How old were you then, mate?
14, 15, something like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wasn't even at school. Damn.
Right, okay. It's another thing, you see, we've changed the audio section.
Yeah.
Because Nathan Butler so kindly put the MHP section on FanWorks.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I've been going and doing a bit of research and finding all these other things out that, you forget over the years. But the one thing I never forgot was, we had the awards 2 years on the trot, and it wasn't just me and John that voted. His sister voted, and one of his brothers voted. It was a proper thing. So I've been nominated before, but anyway, back up to the 2006. We've been nominated in the FanWorks Awards, or we can be chosen. Let's say, there's a whole list of people who are there. But so we're in 5 categories, which is best presenter for you, best presenter for myself, best panel, which is the pair of us, best radio show, and best newcomer. I think it is best new show.
Best new show.
Yeah.
Blimey.
So there we go.
Well, let's hope we're not boring everyone too much.
Let's hope not.
No.
You run out of things to say, don't you?
Yeah, so we've got these awards we're nominating for. We've got, our own opinions on the BAFTAs.
Absolutely.
Refreshing, so to speak. Hollywood's got the Oscars coming up very soon.
Yeah. Early March,
I think it's early March, yes. Just before Easter, I believe, isn't it, at some point? And I'm looking forward to that, because I think, to be honest, I do think that Sith will get one.
I hope so. I really do. I mean, George doesn't need Oscars. These films have won
He's above
Oscars.
it, to be honest.
Well, I don't say anyone's above it, but I think he knows
it's
that
nice
it's not going to
validation,
happen.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice validation that the work you've done has been recognised for something.
And of course, Oscar will think now that, a couple of years ago when Return of the King won, 12 Oscars, 13 Oscars,
God,
13, wasn't it? Best film, best director, everything. They've given their little nod to the fantasy and sci-fi genre, so they don't.
Special effects movies,
Yeah, they don't feel like they've got to hand anything out to everybody else. Least of all Star Wars, but Lucas got that People's Choice Award the other week, and he was thrilled. I mean, you could tell he was really pleased.
because it's voted for by the people that actually watch the film.
Yeah, us guys.
And it would be, I mean, I think in that respect, it would be nice to get the validation off the industry, because he has done so much for the industry.
True.
Either behind the scenes or in front of the scenes.
I think it's noted, especially visual effects societies and technical, from a technical aspect, and he gets a nod there. He gets praise for the stuff that he does there. So swings and roundabouts. I don't suppose he's too fussed. I think Sith, between its box office take and DVD takes, took about 1.3 billion. That's just DVD, video, and movie. That's not counting the merchandise. It was the biggest selling toy of last year. Was again. How many years out of the last 29 has it been?
You could not get a Force Effects lightsaber anywhere. Trust me on this.
I believe you.
I tried.
I bet you did.
That were going for cinema, and it was like Xbox 360 all over again.
Or PSP.
Or PSP.
Yeah.
Right.
On to the next subject. Thank you, Gemma.
Back to technology.
Yes.
Now, me and Mark have been looking at something recently that we found quite interesting. All of you followers of Star Wars out there will already know something about hyperspace. That's a real universe where time does not flow at the same rate as the rest of it. Right. Well, believe it or not, there's a bloke that's come up with an idea. And he's been working on it since 1950, one way or the other. That's been used to calculate the mass, am I correct in saying the mass of certain quantum particles?
Yeah.
But the same formula allows, basically, for the fact that you could create what they call a bubble, a magnetic field, a strong enough magnetic field that once it's been created, would allow whatever is within the field to be accelerated with zero mass. In reality, if you look at New Scientist, I mean, basically, if you look at the New Scientist website, do a search on, is it Hyperdrive? I think it's
Hyperdrive, I think. I'm sure they call it Hyperdrive.
Yeah. And you'll find all the details around it. But what is interesting is they're saying that NASA will have a working prototype engine in 5-10 years.
I think it was 5
US
years.
Air Force, wasn't it? Not NASA.
Yeah.
And if they're now assuming everyone can understand the theory, if that's the case, then we could be looking at interstellar travel within the next 50 years.
Yeah,
20 to 50 years.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Because apart from anything else, to go off on a slight Star Trek slant, first contact happened on April 4th, 2063.
The man's got a brilliant memory.
Well, it is 10 years since first contact the film. We're sort of getting in the ballpark, we're getting in the area, I can see it actually coming to fruition. Because real life has leapt ahead of Trek technology, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The communicators and the fast, the computer power and just rapidly.
I mean, we're literally only a few years away from quantum computers.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And everything changes.
Which is great. I mean, quantum computers are going to be the next big thing.
Yes.
We're already at the point now where we've got multi-core processors. AMD are working on a 3- and 4-core version of their dual-core processor.
Yeah.
Which, as far as I'm concerned, is a bloody good idea.
Oh yeah.
Why just rely on having a 2, a 4, an 8, or a 12 when you can have a 2 or a 3?
Yeah.
Already the 2-core processors allow for you to run a full virus check and play a game without any problems at all.
Now that's a constant problem for me. When my virus check comes on at 8 o'clock on a Thursday, forget it. Everything else I'm doing, if I'm working on the site, anything else, or writing a story, not good.
Oh dear, never mind. Technology is starting to catch up with science fiction.
Yeah, certainly is. And I think science fiction informs science as well. I think
it's one thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We tend to base our stories on what we know about Star Wars.
Yeah, and we've been lucky with our stories as well because we've gone a bit beyond that. We've done our own thing. We've kept. I think anybody who reads Lightsaber and reads the stories of the Setnin sector will pretty quickly tell that even though events that are happening in the films and in the EU are referenced by our stories, we're just like a little step to the right, aren't we? We're just on our own little. It completely fits in with what's happening in the wider universe,
but with our own storylines, our own characters, and our own environments.
That's it. We're not going to have main characters from the films turn up. Occasionally they do, obviously. We've had little instances because
little
big galaxy. That's it. But not as not as a continuous character arc. But yeah, we've always been, very character driven in our stories, which I'm hoping that's the way the TV series goes. I think it will be.
Yeah,
I think it will be. But I think that's actually, in a strange way, anybody who hates Trek. I think the one thing that Trek does as well, easily as well as Star Wars, is that it's character driven. Trek is a character driven show. I think Star Wars is always story driven more than anything. And the fact that the characters are so iconic is just...
It's fantastic, yeah. Interesting thing as well, I mean, while we're on the subject of sort of like television shows, the latest series of Smallville was relaunched again in the States. If you're in the States, you'll probably have already seen it by now. We don't get it in the UK no until about 6 months afterwards.
Yes. It gets less and less as the series nears the end. Yeah. We usually get the last episode within a week of the Americans getting it.
Yeah. Well, the new series has just started in the UK on Channel 12, but we have it on a weekly basis. I mean, obviously, I get hold of them anyway. Yeah. The latest ones are getting a bit better again.
Yeah.
The one thing that's caught my attention is Galactica. I have to say that has... You know, a lot of people I know don't like the B plots and the C plots or whatever are going on in the background. I have to say that if you've been watching that from the beginning of Series 2, you will have seen such an increase in the quality.
Well, I've only seen the first... It premiered on Sky One a week, last Monday, was it? Was it Monday or Tuesday? It was Tuesday.
Tonight.
The first episode was so good because the end of Season 1... it seems stupid to call it a season because it's only 13 episodes, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the same as Deadwood, which is amazing. I can't wait for that to come back. It was so... I mean, the shocking thing, you know, with Boomer shooting Adama, you know, the way that's followed through in that first episode, it was so good. So good.
And I think it's consistent, isn't it? I'll tell you what I like about it. There are the nods to the old series.
Well, it needs to. They'd be stupid not to.
No.
You know, whatever
some of the characters, I mean, you have the character that used to play Apollo. That used to play Apollo turning up as a character in the series.
Yeah, that was very cool.
There's some thoughts going through that the original actor for Starbuck will be turning up as well, and
he openly slated the show, hated the fact that Cara Thrace was playing, you know, as a female Starbuck, hated that. Just didn't like it at all. The strange thing is, Richard Hatch was the guy that was really anti-New Galactica. You know, he did a trailer for a sequel to the original Galactica, which I've seen actually. It's okay. It's got the spirit of the old show. Visuals weren't fantastic, but it was a trailer. It was like essentially a fan-made trailer that he funded himself to get interest in the show. And to many degrees, it worked because Universal are doing a new Galactica show, aren't they, really?
Yeah.
But for him to come back in and actually play that character was fantastic, and he was so good at it. You know?
And I think the thing is, he's going to be an ongoing character, as far as I know.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it will be, I think. And as I said before, what can you say? You don't burn your bridges when you slate someone. Then you shouldn't. I don't think that happens in Hollywood. I think that basically...
No, it's all down to money.
It's all down to money. Yeah. And if someone came across... I'm not saying that Dirk Benedict would do this, but if someone came across to you and you just slated the show and then you were offered sort of like an immense amount of money to appear in that show...
You'd have to think twice, because you would. And you got to pay
you would. You'd say, oh, well, yeah, give it a go, you know, and afterwards you might turn around and say, look, you know, I was wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
So... You can only admit you're wrong when you are, sort of thing.
That's right.
But I have to say, the Cara Thrace character playing Starbuck was an immensely inspired choice.
Yeah.
I think it offers a different level that wasn't there in the original series. Again, down to the writers of the shows, not the actors themselves. But I think this series, the writing is superb.
Yeah.
The original series, and I'm on about the original series now. The writing for the first series was okay.
It started strong and just got weaker and weaker.
And it got weaker and weaker, and it was like people just lost interest.
Well, it made Season 3 of Star Trek look like Macbeth, didn't it?
It did.
So, which is saying something.
And that is saying something because I'm a fan of Star Trek, and I think for, nostalgic reasons, Season 3 is okay. But compared to today's stuff, it's just not going there, is it?
It's not, absolutely. Absolutely.
So. But, that's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, obviously, people's tastes have become more sophisticated now.
Mm-hmm.
Special effects have to be more sophisticated because
they do,
people expect it.
Well, there's not much of a gap, really, between TV effects. I mean, look at Firefly compared to Serenity. Okay, Serenity is obviously a better film visually, but there's not a huge gap.
Serenity took advantage of the big screen.
Fully. And I do hope there's a sequel.
I do think that was fantastic. How it'll come across on DVD, I don't know.
Another film, briefly before we wrap it up, that they've announced is Hulk 2. Two rumours. One was that they were looking at doing a direct-to-DVD movie, which was why Eric Bana apparently said no to that.
Right.
So the one rumour going around is that David Duchovny is now playing Bruce Banner. Apparently Duchovny is a huge Hulk fan. Another rumour that's going around is that In fact, it is going to be a big screen movie, and Eric Bana is involved, and it's the same cast, and they're just going to go ahead and do it with a different director. Obviously not Ang Lee, somebody else, so they're scouting for that. They've found an actress to play Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man 3. Ron Howard's daughter, Bryce, playing Gwen Stacy, which is going to be a big deal because she was such an important character to the Spider-Man story. The latest hot news, and there's a direct quote attributed to Patrick Stewart regarding this, is that they're looking to do a Star Trek super movie using the captains from all the shows, and they're also trying to get Leonard Nimoy out of retirement to play Spock again. And Patrick Stewart has said, yes, I'd love to do it. Bill Shatner's a dear friend of mine.
Apparently, yes.
It's been talked about.
X-Men 3. I have to say that my initial thoughts on X-Men 3 when they announced what they were going to do with it, I was not impressed.
Everybody was not impressed.
But having seen the trailer, it's going to kick some serious ass.
Yeah, I've read a lot about it, and it looks awesome.
It does look
200
awesome.
million budget behind it.
Absolutely. You don't throw 200 million quid into a film,
No.
or $200 million into a film if you're expecting it to be the last one you're going to sort out.
Well, that's true.
You know,
well, don't forget
do
Vinnie
it.
Jones has signed on to play Juggernaut in X-Men 3, 4 and 5.
Well, there we are.
And they're doing a Wolverine spin-off with Hugh Jackman. That sort of money, 200 million there, yeah, you're right, it's going to be... And Brett Ratner, people have knocked him... Oh, he's not Bryan Singer. Apart from the X-Men movies, what huge hit has Bryan Singer had? Okay, Usual
Hopefully
Suspects.
Superman.
That's 250 million now, the budget for that. Obviously, Usual Suspects, a cult movie. You know, he's not got any huge box office for his films. Fantastic director, but is he box office? But you look at somebody like Brett Ratner, Hannibal was a big hit.
Very, psychologically.
Yeah, the 2 Rush Hour movies, big hits. You know,
Very
he
good.
has had... He was attached to Superman for a while. After McGee was attached to it, and now, of course, Bryan Singer's doing it. And again, the trailer for that looks fantastic. So.
Vampire movies. New one coming out very
Underworld
soon.
Evolution?
Underworld Evolution.
Looks good.
I mean, I liked Underworld.
Yeah.
I thought it was a step up from Blade 3 easily.
Yeah, Blade 3... I enjoy Blade 3. I like Ryan Reynolds.
I do like Ryan Reynolds. I like the humour.
And Jessica Biel is drop dead gorgeous. And Triple H was in it.
Yes.
So you can't go wrong if Tripp's in it.
Don't think it was as good as the previous 2 films.
I still think the first one's the best one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's one of these things, isn't it? I mean, you do get some films that stand out because they're cult movies, because they do something slightly different. And I'm hoping that Underworld will do that. Because, I mean, the original Underworld was actually a very good film that was very, very underrated, I think.
Yeah.
I actually saw it on DVD for the first time, not in the cinema.
Yeah.
It wasn't an expensive film to make. Didn't need that many actual digital type effects. You know, most of the stuff was done with stunt work, which was impressive. Evolution, apparently, they've gone a step up, be slightly bigger budget.
Yeah.
They've got some, I believe they've got some UK effects houses working
well,
on it as well.
The way that the effects field has levelled out now, it's nobody, whereas 10, 15 years ago, ILM, they always said ILM were 5 years ahead of everybody else.
They were the gods, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah. But now, you know, well, ILM hasn't won an effects Oscar since 94, Forrest Gump, so it should...
Again, a shame, considering the amount of input they have into the... I mean, they're looked at as being the masters, and people still go to them for feedback.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, you know. They started the whole digital effects field off, didn't they?
Pretty much. Well, they did. The first digital effect in the movie was in Star Trek 2, wasn't it? Wrath of Khan, Genesis.
Yes.
Plus, the first digital character in the movie was in Young Sherlock Holmes, when the plate glass window comes to life. So ILM's been there for the start of everything, even Toy Story, which is Pixar. Pixar used to be ILM's animation department.
That's pretty good.
Okay. And there we shall leave it.
Yeah, we will.
So from the award-nominated team of Setnin Radio, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good night.
Good night.